Howdy, folks. I'm the cool mom down the street who lets you play with firecrackers as a kid.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. So, before we begin, I just want to say something real quick. For everyone who's liked and commented and subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me. These videos are actually a lot of work, so anytime I see any of that, it makes me feel really happy. So, thank you all for being so awesome. Anyhow, let's get started. Our first story is titled, "Am I a jerk for sitting on a man's hand after he refused to remove it from the empty seat?" Well, OP, it clearly wasn't empty if he had his hand in it. So yes, you're the jerk.
No.
Pretty sure I was a jerk here, but we will see. So, I am a 30-year-old female and I'm 8 months pregnant. I take public transportation to work daily. I'm always exhausted because I have to work extra time to be able to afford basic necessities. I take the bus to work every day and oftentimes it's packed, but I get lucky enough when a decent folk volunteers their seat for me. Now, I should mention that I don't use my pregnancy as an excuse to get what I want, but people just offer me their places by themselves, which is kind and sweet. Wednesday, I get on the bus like usual, but there's one empty seat. So I go to sit, but I find this guy in this business attire sitting there with his hand on the empty seat, sort of like resting it. I say excuse me and ask him to remove his hand so I could sit. But he tells me the seat was taken. I ask by who, and he says his hand. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed a little bit, and I wasn't feeling well, so I asked him to remove it so I could sit, but he refused again. Folks started staring, and I tried to tell him that I needed it to sit, and he replies that saying that my pregnancy isn't his problem. I had enough at this point. My legs were burning and my back was hurting, so I go ahead and sit on his hand. He freaks out and tries to remove it quickly while shouting at me. He then starts arguing about how disrespectful I was, and this was inappropriate thing to do in a public place, no less. Shocked pearls are being clutched. I argue back, not gonna lie, but then he gets off after saying that I was being inappropriate and disrespectful. Everyone stares at me, and I just sit there feeling a bit of shame about what just happened. I tell my husband about the incident, and he said, "What in the world?" the entire time. Then says I did indeed act inappropriately, and I shouldn't have made this guy uncomfortable by sitting on his hand like that, and OP should of course have been uncomfortable by standing around in the bus while there's an open seat. He tells me I messed up and this was totally inappropriate despite me saying that I was so tired of standing and was desperate need to sit down. Am I the jerk? Edited to add, like I said, I do get offered seats from others, but I'm treated well most of the time. But unfortunately, run into some people who don't do that. This guy seemed to be upset about something, and then the argument probably made it worse. I could have de-escalated by maybe talking to the driver. However, I'm pretty sure it didn't pay for the seat to put his hand on. Who does that? Also, most of the passengers were younger folks that day. Normally, I would get a seat from older folks. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
OP, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. I, of course, was just joking at the beginning here. Everyone should know. So, I don't think you're the jerk. I think that this man was being very unreasonable, very uncharitable. Like, sitting on his hand, maybe that was excessive, but also not moving his hand was way more excessive. And you are a tired individual, you're 8 months pregnant. I think that this is an awful situation he put you in, and you were just trying to get home. And he just added an extra layer of just like garbageness to your day. And I think that's terrible. So, no, I don't think that you're the jerk, but I'm curious about what you folks have to say. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, though I can't believe you stole the seat from his only lover. Oh my. Oh my indeed. We got a little spicy here. Opie says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was confused for a minute, but I saw what you did there. Haha, this is funny." Oh no. I'm having a terrible day, and this made me laugh. Thank you. Not the jerk. I hope you farted. I'm sure she pulled his hand away pretty quickly. And OP says, "Oh goodness, no, that would have made it a lot worse. But that's hilarious. I can only imagine his reaction. Oh dear." Not the jerk. Seats are for hands, not. Seats are for butts, not hands. If you don't want a butt on your hand, keep it on your own seat. So this actually reminds me of Amber a little bit. So I'm trying to like record a video here, and I know she's invited to come and record videos, but sometimes I just rest my hand in the seat when she comes over and she sits on my hand. And do you believe the rudeness of this? The rudeness. She'll just sit on my hand unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly, even though you know I'm coming over there.
Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for asking my sister to be a groomswoman?" Sorry if the formatting is terrible, I'm on mobile while typing this. I'm a 25-year-old male, and my fiance, a 24-year-old female, has never gotten along with my sister, who's an 18-year-old female. My fiance has never liked how close I am with my sister, and it has been the cause of a few arguments. I proposed to my fiance Sarah a few months ago, and things have gone smoothly. In fact, I would say our relationship has never been better. A few days ago, Sarah listed off to me all the people she wants as bridesmaids, and not surprisingly, my sister was not one of them. She said something like she was planning on asking them in a few more months to be in our wedding. Sarah then asked me if I knew who I wanted as my groomsmen. I listed off a couple of people that Sarah knew: Keegan, Joey, Sammy, etc., and then I said I wanted my sister to be one of my groomsmen. This made Sarah upset. She said it wasn't traditional for a woman to be a groomsman, and that it would embarrass her. I explained to her that my sister was one of the most important people in my life, and she was going to be a part of our wedding. This made Sarah even more upset. She accused me of trying to ruin her wedding day, and she locked herself in the bathroom. It's been a few days since, and we haven't spoken at all. Many members of her family have reached out to me and asked me not to include Sarah in the wedding at all, and said that Sarah would be the most important woman in my life, not my sister. My mother-in-law even called me, telling me that I was making Sarah depressed, and that I was a horrible person by doing this to my future wife. My sister heard about all of this, and she told me that she was okay with not being invited. I stood my ground and told all of them that my sister would be included no matter what. Am I the jerk for doing this? And there's a lot of edits here. Edit: Sarah's dislike stems from the fact that she walked in on me and my sister cuddling. Sister had her head on my shoulder and my arm was wrapped around her, which made Sarah upset. That right there is like such a innocent type of thing here. Second edit: my sister is aromantic and told me when she first came out that she would most likely never get married, and that made her sad. I told her she could be a part of my wedding, even if it wasn't the same thing. I will never forget the look of joy on my sister's face. This is why I won't back down, for those who are wondering. Third edit: I'm planning on calling off the engagement with Sarah when I get home from work. My sister is more important to me than any miserable marriage. I will be home around 8 Eastern Time, so look out for an update until then. Fourth and final edit: hello Reddit, this is going to be a little long, so be patient with me. I got home from work and told Sarah that we needed to talk, and she agreed. We sat down in the living room. I started off by asking her why she had such a problem with my sister being groomsman, and also, as many of you suggested, if she had been assaulted or had any other trauma related to that. Sarah told me that she hadn't. She went on to say that having a sister as a groomsman was untraditional. She said that men are groomsmen and women are bridesmaid. Sarah also said that she was uncomfortable with how close I was with my sister. I asked her to elaborate on this, and Sarah implied that we had more than a sibling relationship. She said that cuddling between siblings was something that she had never seen before, and that didn't seem like something normal siblings did. I assured Sarah that nothing like that was happening, but she just didn't seem to like that she wanted to accept that, and just more arguing. I gave Sarah an ultimatum. We could go to couples therapy, she could try to repair her relationship with my sister, and tell the family to stop guilting me, or we were going to have to call off the engagement. Sarah blew up on me and said that she was going to go stay with her mother. Family-in-law is now completely mad at me and are sending me hateful messages on Facebook. So I guess most likely it's the end of Sarah and I. But to wrap things up on a good note, sister is planning on moving in with me. Her mental health was drained from this, so we decided to move in together. Thank you everyone for sticking with me through this. I appreciate all the kind messages. I ended up showing my sister some of them, and she was very delighted. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
So, OP, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. I think you stood up for what you believed in here. You told your sister that she was going to be able to be part of the wedding a long time ago, and you were holding to that. There's nothing wrong with a woman being a groomsman. I think, and nowadays in modern era, there's really no problem with that. It isn't even that uncommon. So I don't know why Sarah would have such a big deal with this. And my guess is she doesn't really care as much about your sister being a groomsman as she does about you and your sister's closeness. I think that she's using this as a front to basically try to persuade you to not include Sarah because she doesn't like and is not uncomfortable with your relationship with her. With all that said, this is a tricky situation simply because there's a lot of competing interests. I think that you gave Sarah some very reasonable options here, that she could have gone to couples therapy with you, and you two could have talked this out with a third party. I think that was very reasonable, and I think that could have been beneficial, but unfortunately, it seems like that probably is not going to be the case. So, yeah, I don't think you're a jerk, though. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Info: why would you want to marry someone who is not only jealous of your little sister, but also seemingly implying that your relationship with her is inappropriate? Edit to add a real verdict. Absolutely not the jerk. You sound like a great big brother. I'm sorry you are going through this. And OP replies, we had argued before, but it hadn't been forgotten about until this instance. I will probably be calling my engagement off after reading everyone's advice. I have a brother-in-law who married a woman like this. She slowly managed to encourage the destruction of the relationship with all of his siblings, especially the little sister. Not the jerk, no, it's not traditional for a sister to be a groomswoman. It's just not traditional for a brother to be a bridesmaid. But both are happening these days, and it shouldn't be embarrassing at all. If Sarah had merely been startled by this, then I would have said not the jerk. But for her to have these ongoing, irrational emotional reactions to the fact that your sister is important enough to you that you want her at your side as you marry your fiance, that's a very different story. If she truly thinks that she should be the most important person in your life to the point that you should exclude other people from standing by your side, that is extraordinarily insecure and controlling. I would be deeply concerned about you spending the rest of your life with someone who thinks your sister should not be important to you. And I would also like to take note of who respects you and wants you to be happy, your sister, who has already agreed to bow out to placate someone who doesn't even like her. She's doing that because she loves you. Your fiance is showing you that she doesn't respect your wishes and puts her desires to be the center of attention above your desire to be supported. And your future mother-in-law is supporting Sarah's temper tantrum rather than Sarah, and is trying to help manipulate you into acquiescing. I would strongly recommend couples counseling before moving forward with the wedding process. I think that is just about the best wrap up I could make of this. Well said. Well said. All right, folks, it is tea time. Make sure to grab your beverages of choice. Guess what kind of beverage I have, and yeah. Also, congratulations to June. I meant to say this yesterday. She had a new grandchild, a grandson. So congratulations to her and her family. Really awesome to hear that. As you can see, I did Wordle in 5.
Wordle in 4.
Amber did Wordle in 4 because she's a smarty pants. Smarty pants. All right. What did the ram say to his girlfriend? I love you. And that's, of course, spelled EWE. Aw, that's sweet. And I had Earl Grey.
I have mint.
Amber has mint. Mega mint. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not removing a tree from my property as my new neighbor demands? I live in my late grandparents' home. I've spent the last few years modernizing it and making it fit my lifestyle, and there's one thing that I've not touched, however, is the apple tree in the back garden. My grandparents planted it on the day that they moved into the house, and it came from my grandfather's family orchard as a sapling, as a way of bringing a bit of the family with them. I love this tree, and some of my favorite memories as a child are picking fruit from it or climbing it when I was little. New neighbors recently moved in next door, and they keep complaining about the tree wanting to cut it down as it's casting a shade into their garden where they want to put a hot tub. None of the tree overhangs into their property at all, it just cuts off light in that one specific area, and I've apologized to them, but I won't be cutting it down and suggested that they put their hot tub somewhere else in the garden as it's a big space. I'd even planned on trying to smooth things over when it grows fruit this year by bringing them a bag of fresh apples. They are mad at me, complaining about how it's just a tree and it's not a big deal to be cut down. The husband has also been threatening to get lawyers involved to force me to cut it down, and I'll admit this made me mad and killed any goodwill I had towards them or a desire to smooth things over. I told them to do whatever they want, but I warned them that I have a camera in my back garden, so if they mess with my tree, I will know. I set this up a few years ago due to local kids stealing all the apples. I don't mind giving apples away to people as it grows plenty, but I have an issue with people helping themselves. I know it's just a tree, and perhaps it's silly to be so enraged by their demands and threats, but it has sentimental value to me. Is it really that unreasonable for me not to care that it casts some shade into their garden? And edit. I've explained the sentimental value of this tree, but they don't seem to care or see what the big deal is about the tree. Alright, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
OP, you are not the jerk, and I would definitely consider heading and posting this over onto r/tree law. That's my advice. They will be able to give you far more advice than I think this subreddit will be able to, and far better advice. So, yeah, plain and simple, for casting shadows into their backyard, I do not think you're a jerk. If you built a big, tall fence over their yard, then it might cast a shadow too. Just saying that if you were to build a giant fence, it might do that. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. This is a part of your property that you love and cherish, and they knew the tree was there when they moved in, so it clearly wasn't a deal breaker for them. You can't always be a people pleaser. Protect your peace and protect your tree. That's what I was going to say. They knew it was there when they bought the house. This right here, but just to be safe, make sure to take lots of photos of the tree and keep that security camera aimed at it. If you check r/tree law, you will find lots of stories of neighbors trying to kill trees or just outright paying someone to cut it down. It may be a good idea to get your tree appraised and review your local laws. You'd be surprised about how much a tree is worth. It is absolutely absurd how much trees are worth. I have seen some stuff in r/tree law where it's like someone cut down a tree and then on someone else's property and they had to pay like $200,000 or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, don't mess with other people's trees, folks. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.